is that time?
It's that time, Marnie Glickman, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time.
Yes.
I can tell it's earlier out there because it's still light behind me.
A little bit.
It's like 9 p.m. here.
Yeah, right? It's dark, pitch black dark outside my window.
Yes.
Yeah. And Marnie, we're joined tonight by Monica Gillen.
Hooray!
Before we talk to Monica, I just want to make one announcement. I posted this on Facebook earlier in the week or late last week. We're caught up on YouTube. All the episodes are on YouTube now. And I'm thrilled that all you have to do is Google KHOP88 and it'll take you right to our YouTube channel. You can subscribe there. We have like 90 plus subscribers. You can subscribe and you'll never miss an episode. You'll always get notifications or whatever when I need.
I have another announcement.
Yeah.
We are working on a t-shirt with Eric Valsa.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
The theme, I'm going to give you the hint, is WKRP in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
But for now, we're going to have a fireside chat with Monica Gillen. Monica, how are you? Tell us where you are and what has happened to you since high school graduation and now the short version.
Hey guys, so yep, I am in Bloomington. I'm off of Anderson Lake, on the same lake as Bud Grant, right near Bush Lake. Actually, we go there paddleboarding all the time. So really love this part of town. Little weird moving south and weird being in sports where we're playing against Hopkins. I'm a little torn of who to cheer for. When I first graduated from high school, I actually became a florist, and I had my own shop, and we did high-end weddings and events. So I had the Polads and the Daytons, and I did special events for MIA, which was very cool, really, really fun. Did that for like 20 plus years and went back to school in 2008 and became a nurse. So that's where I am today.
That's quite a journey. What was the name of your flower shop and where was it?
Bayberry Flowers, and it was on 36th and Lyndale in South Minneapolis. Yeah.
So was it like open to the public, just walk in, or did you just do by appointment stuff?
Oh no, we were open to the public. I had a little retail shop in the front. The majority of the business was out of the back. And so when they had like a dedication at the Art Institute for a donation, Bruce Dayton was one of their biggest donors. And so all of those Chinese exhibits that you see and walk through, they all did big hoity-toity parties to do the donation. And so I was their go-to for doing the decorations and flowers for that. And so that there was some really fun events there. And then like Bill Polad did a surprise party for his wife when she turned 40. And I think he spent like 40 grand for 40 people.
Oh my.
So that was kind of a fun thing.
How many what does that look like? How many like that is the biggest floral installation I've heard of for a party.
Oh yeah, we had big, tall wire trees on the tables with lanterns hanging from them, and it was in actually the theater off of Hennepin, and so we had dresses hanging from the ceiling and candles up against the wall that lined in glass, of course, that lined the room, and it was a surprise party. She had no idea it was happening, so that was really super fun.
That's so interesting. How did you decide to become a florist?
So I love art, and that was really my main thing. And, I just didn't know what I wanted to do after high school. I mean, I think we see a lot of our kids kind of going through that now today, that I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I went and took some classes at North Hennepin and knew I didn't want those traditional flowers. So just kind of started looking at who I liked in the industry and following them, and started building my own clientele, and then created my own shop, which is a feat in its own to have your own business. And then I had, and then I just started building some. There's a thing called Art in Bloom at the Art Institute every year. And I did this really cool exhibit where it was about 1,500 yellow tulips in a ball with a frame of wheatgrass that went around it. And that was the exact same year that they had opened the glass yellow ball that was just in the entrance there. And so it was actually really, that was great. And so that's when I caught the attention of MIA and started doing events for them, and even helped a colleague of mine do flowers for Justin Morneau, which was very cool, because then I got to get a picture with Joe Mauer, and Nick Punto took the picture, and you're sitting there in the church like, okay, there's garden hire. There's that was kind of a fun event too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you have any stories about like having to pull together something at the last minute, like throwing stuff in the truck and like hauling ass across town? Like what, or was your business just totally buttoned up and everything? No.
Well, as buttoned up as I could be. Absolutely. Okay. I mean, there is one event where there's 2 Mount Olivets in
oh yeah,
the city here. There's one in Plymouth and one off of 50th. And I went to 50th and I couldn't find the wedding party to bring the flowers to. So I thought, oh, I must have screwed up. It drove all the way to Plymouth and realized it really wasn't at Plymouth. I was at the right place to begin with. So yeah, that was probably the worst of the worst, but really that, you can't miss those things with parties and events. That has to be pretty buttoned up. And so we had, I would rent refrigerated trucks and we would do some pretty big installations and then run them after the event, after the wedding, run them to the reception, set them up, but got to see some really incredible events. It was really cool. Very fun.
Why did you make the change to nursing?
We used to rent a lot of stuff. And so I had kids and I was at the History Center at like 10:30, 10:45 on a Saturday night with my little 1.5-year-old and 4-year-old. And I looked at them and I looked at myself and went, kids change your priority. And I, at that point, realized that I didn't really want this life. So I went back to school actually to be an event planner. And then I thought, that job market is so minimal and the job security for an event planner is even less. And I started looking into nursing, and I'm very compassionate. I really love taking care of people, and started looking into it. And I thought, well, okay, one foot in front of the other. If I can get through chemistry, great. If I can get through anatomy, got it. If I got physiology, okay. I mean, it's highly, highly competitive. And so when I got through the couple of years prior to applying, I ended up applying with a GPA of 3.85, and they said, sure, we'll take her.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
but it was a right turn.
What kind of nurse are you and where do you work?
After I graduated, I became a neurology nurse at Fairview Southdale and loved it. That's just fascinating for me. I just think it's really cool. And I was working the 12-hour shifts, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And although it was great because you would get like 9 days off in a row, I found myself really dreading the going into work and at our age, the recovery afterwards. I mean, I would be out for 2 days. It would really, to get back in the cadence was pretty hard. So I got a job with United Healthcare with Optum. So I work there and I am doing case management currently. I've been here for 6 years now, and it's fantastic. I have learned so much from my colleagues, from the clients I work with, and I just love it. And it's Monday through Friday, and it's business hours and no holidays and no nights. And it's pretty great. So I love it. It's been a really good move for me.
That's really
very cool.
It is.
Oh, thanks. And I still get to do some art stuff. So
what do you do? How are you scratching that itch?
Well, because now it can be a hobby. Now it doesn't have to be, now it doesn't have to give me income. So now I can do it for fun. So gardening is really a big thing for me. I've got this huge garden back in here. It's pretty phenomenal. Gotta say that. But I also help out with my church, and for VBS, which is for young kids that come in the summertime, I set up these just really interactive, big displays. My theory is I like them to feel like they're walking through Disneyland. So
Yeah.
I make some pretty big displays. I've got one actually I'm installing tomorrow for them for Christmas. So I still get to do that. And now I get to do it for fun.
That's great. Let's see. Allison Reese from our class, if you know Allison, she's a master gardener, I guess.
Sure. Awesome.
I was at the state fair a few years ago with my wife, and we were walking through the horticulture building, I want to say, and they have a desk where the U of M puts these master gardeners to just answer people's questions.
Yeah.
And that's where she was.
Awesome.
So there's a little community of you gardeners out there.
Pause, everyone. Jennifer wants to come in. I'm giving her the student link.
Oh, she wants to crash the meeting.
Yeah, go ahead and send her the link, Marty.
Okay.
Okay, so your kids now are how old?
I have a senior at Jefferson High School, and my son is a baseball player at a junior college out in Wilmer.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
That's great. Okay. So does he live then in Wilmer? I mean, that a junior college, right, is typically something to drive to, but he must live out there?
He does live out there, and he still comes home. But I mean, throughout the whole COVID thing, he was here. Okay. And navigating with adult kids living at home was interesting. Wow. It was like, okay, you need to stop eating all my food.
It's funny now, kids are back in school, I guess, a little bit, but we have had a few people on who had older kids who were supposed to be like out of the house. Yeah. And now they were back in. Mm-hmm. So you survived all that, huh?
Yeah, we did. That was interesting because he was 19, 20, and he came back home. And so he was here, and this fall when he moved out and went back to Wilmer, my husband and I were like, thank you. Now we can enjoy your company. And, I love him dearly. Don't get me wrong. I do love him dearly, but
totally got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And so, okay, so we were having a little chat before we started here tonight about things that we did, and not even like stuff that we got away with, right? Just like stuff that we did that were normal teenager things. Mm-hmm.
We thought they were normal.
You have a senior in high school that you would never let her get away with.
Well, okay, so think of the smoking door. Yeah. I think that is just so funny. And they just can't even believe that we had something like that. And my husband went to Armstrong. They had that there too. I mean, it was just normal for us.
That's so, yeah, you're right. The smoking door really is just like a total relic. But we also
posted a bunch of those pictures. Actually, Kyle Hansen posted a bunch of pictures from the smoking door, which was.
Are you in some of those pictures, Monica?
No. I like to hide. I was hiding in those pictures.
So we've talked about concerts too. Okay, so your daughter's going to a concert downtown tonight. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so talk about that, but then also talk about did you ever go to any concerts in high school that were crazy and off the
Jen, you stop laughing. You know what? I was so mad at my dad because it felt like everybody was going to the Grateful Dead concert. Everybody was going to Alpine Valley and going to the Dead. And I wanted to go, and I thought, oh, I'm going. I was so excited. And my dad said, he put his foot down and said, no, you are not going to this. And I was so mad at him. I couldn't believe that he wouldn't let me go. And now I look back and go, okay, yeah. Okay, now I see why he said, no, you can't go.
Jennifer, you're welcome to join in with the commentary and the questions, but you have to come on camera
You got to be on video, Jen. You can't. There you go.
I'm eating my sushi. Sorry.
Oh,
Jennifer
wow.
was my partner in
Wow.
crime.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
My goodness. That's how the
Oh.
class of 89 rolls, I guess. They just roll in with
Monica
sushi.
and I, we've had sushi lunches like forever. So
Oh.
yeah.
All right. So Jennifer, remind me how to
Bellinger.
pronounce your last name, your maiden last name.
Yep. Jennifer Bellinger.
Bellinger,
Now it's
joining
Ellen.
us from class of 89, and you and Monica are friends.
And my dogs. Just a minute.
All
Yeah.
right, Jennifer's joining us.
And right after high school, actually, I think it was actually, might have even been junior year, I entered a bunch of stuff in the state fair with, I think Kyle actually even entered some stuff too. And we won, I know my painting won first place. I think Kyle even won some first place for photography that year too.
It's incredible. And we just learned that Norla was the ran the art. I don't know if he was doing it at that time, but ran the art gallery at the fair. That's huge.
Yeah, that is huge.
Yeah.
He's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And so Jen, can I just ask Jen a
in high school?
question?
Yeah.
I'm
Jen,
sorry.
who is the guy that posted the huge sign in the mall asking you to the prom?
Bill Hobbs. Yeah, the Jenny B, will you go to prom with me? And I think it was you actually that
fantastic.
Did you go
poking me, and I'm
to
like,
prom with
Oh,
Bill?
are you guys
Yeah.
frozen?
yeah.
Okay.
And Monica was poking me going, look at the sign. I'm like, oh, that must be so embarrassing for whoever that is. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That's me. Yeah.
So
Okay,
funny.
so you went to prom with Bill Hobbs. Do you and Bill still stay in touch?
We've talked a few times on Facebook, but not so much. Yeah.
Bill's been on the show. He
See, I
has
just
a very
learned about
serious. He has a very serious job. He's like, what? I forget what he does, Marnie, but he's
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 a
a
surgical
he's-
oncologist, I believe.
Yes, he's researching cures to sickle cell anemia.
yeah.
Jen, and Monica, we have Dave Green is here.
Yay!
And he says, hello, Jen. Hello, Mona. Tell
Yes.
Monica she's really good at drawing eyes. Not sure she will remember or if she's still good at it.
Oh, David, love you. Yes, I do still draw. And it's funny because my daughter is all into drawing eyes and it made me giggle. Totally made me think back to that too. My daughter's very artistic. So she's all into faces and all into art. So kind of fun to relive that with her. It's funny you remember that.
She's great at it, like her mama.
Okay.
Okay, so were there other things that, and Jennifer, join in on this too, that you're like, with your kids, that was sort of like a standard thing that we did when we were kids?
Oh, my kids both went to Hopkins. My daughter just graduated. So she was a COVID class of 20. It was awful.
Yeah.
And then Ben, he's a senior right now. My son is. So
Man,
it's a little different.
that's way
Yeah.
different. I mean,
Yeah.
just the fact that they're going to school at home and doing all that stuff is wild.
Yeah.
Well,
They actually, yeah.
We're
Let's-
staying out till 5 a.m.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk
Totally
about
different.
music. So did you all go to any memorable concerts in high school? Or were you like at First Ave or where did you hear music?
Well, Monica and I went to concerts together for sure. So,
Right.
yeah.
I went to Duran Duran and Howard Jones and I think I did eventually find my way to a Grateful Dead concert at the Met Center. I just couldn't travel to go there.
Who did we go with? Do you remember?
And the
Monica?
Dust Bunnies, of course,
Well,
there's
yeah,
a lot of
but
Dust Bunnies.
Who did we go to the Dead show with? It was a whole bunch of Hopkins.
Oh, a whole bunch.
I
It was
don't
a
even
huge
remember.
crowd. Yeah, that
Yeah.
Somebody posted black and white photos from that parking lot at that concert.
Whoa.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, loved it. Super fun. Super fun.
Were those Duran Duran concerts, Howard Jones, was that like St. Paul Civic Center kind of concert or even smaller?
No, I think I know Pink Floyd, Pink Floyd and the Dead were at the Met, and then Howard Jones, where was that? I want to say it was like in St. Paul and,
Yeah.
Van
Neil Young,
Halen.
that was at Target Center, wasn't it?
Who was?
We saw Neil Young. Remember that?
Oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Love him. Love him.
Yep.
Yep, of course.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so David Green's on, he'll remember going to that. I mentioned, Jason and Marnie, I mentioned to you before the show, the party after graduation.
Oh,
And
at Marn Carlson's?
was that at Marin's?
Oh, I was
There
at
was
a
that
party
party.
at Maren Carlson's house.
Was it at her
That
cabin?
was huge.
Huge party at her cabin, and we all had to put the keys in the pot.
What?
Okay, then maybe we're talking about different parties.
No, because I remember Marin said that she was gonna have that she was willing to have people over to her house, and I said, "Are you sure, Marin?" She's like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, let's do it." And so
Oh.
I made a bunch of flyers.
Flyers is not a good thing for high school parties.
Yeah, well, I ended up in marketing and advertising, so so I made a bunch of flyers, and we ended up with a whole bunch of people at her house. You remember that?
Of
And like
course.
Mulch ended up playing, I think. Weren't they
Yes.
playing there?
Oh, mulch. Nice. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. See, that's like the Dust Bunnies didn't come along until we were,
Later.
Late 20s, probably.
Oh, I think I don't know, maybe they were playing under a different name, but
They were
I
It was
know
still
that
Mulch,
Mulch.
I think.
Mulch, was that
Mulch.
Mulch
Yeah,
then?
it was still Mulch.
Okay, yeah, because I can't remember whose cabin we went up to after we graduated, and we were camping out, and we all had to drop keys in the pot, so we couldn't leave and had
We would
to
drive.
break the pot in the morning.
Now, Monica, would you ever let your children, have your children asked to spend all night at a high school party on a lake?
No. But I mean, really, do we really know what they do when they go and sleep over at their friend's house? I guess my kids are a lot more tame than I was, I would have to say. I got good kids. I was a little worried about the payback that was going to come my way, and
Yeah.
thankfully, Jen, these guys were talking about how the parking lot guy would get bribed with candy. I don't remember bribing him with candy. Do you remember doing that?
We just drove right out.
Okay, wait, you and Monica, so did you drive out together?
Yep.
Probably.
Where did you go? Where did you go?
To lunch.
Yeah. Or
Did you
we go
have
to
a
Monica's
hangout?
house and
Oh,
we
yeah.
make sculptures and
Yeah.
art projects and
Yeah, we would go. Yeah, I lived kind of close to school, so we would hang out at my house.
Did you guys have a hangout that you went to, like some restaurant that you went to all the time?
Maybe after high school we did
Okay.
like a couple places.
Yeah, Un Deux
Like
Trois,
every payday
the
we'd get
bar.
either chocolates and get sushi and Starbucks.
Mhm.
But I think, what did we do?
We go
Go to
drink
the
chocolate
park, we go-
martinis
we
at
go-
Un
we
Deux
go
Trois.
play. What?
We went to go drink chocolate martinis at Un Deux
Oh,
Trois.
table of contents.
Table of contents. Oh, yeah.
There we go. That was later. High school, but we would go play, we'd go to the park and we'd play frisbee golf at Lone Lake.
Oh, yeah, Lone Lake. Yeah. Have you guys
Mhm.
talked about Lone Lake at all?
No, but man, that brings back all the memories. Yes.
Right?
Lone Lake. Yeah.
Wait, what
I-
is Lone Lake?
Over by
Back up.
Shady Oak.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a
Between
park.
Shady Oak and the cross, like on the crossroad
Okay,
on
yeah.
the 62
Yeah.
side of Shady Oak. And we used to play Marnie. I'm sure you played volleyball with us there once or twice.
Yes,
And,
we went skinny dipping.
Oh,
Oh,
Lone Lake.
did you really?
Sure.
At Lone Lake?
Yeah, didn't you?
No.
Cedar Lake.
Oh, the story. Okay, would you let your 15-year-old go skinny dipping?
Well, I'm sure that there were nights that we came home in the summertime when the plan was not going swimming that night.
No. No. No.
Uh,
You know, and I recently, just this summer, actually went mountain biking at Lone Lake. And it's unrecognizable because I have this vision of it was open and there was the big hill with the water tower on top and you park down on the bottom and it was unrecognizable. You honestly, they've got pickleball courts everywhere and you can't even see the water tower. That hill is completely covered with trees these days. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to day camp there a couple of years.
Me
when I was a
too.
kid. Yeah.
We probably went to day camp together.
Probably did. That was a big deal. There were a lot of kids at that day camp. They were all like Hopkins, Minnetonka kids. So.
Yeah.
Jobs. Did you have a job in high school, Monica?
I did. I had a couple different jobs. I worked as the flower attendant. So hence the love of flowers. I started at Lund's working with flowers.
Oh.
And then I went and worked at the nursing home as a nursing assistant. And so, yeah. And then I just kind of redid that again later in life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But she started a florist. She opened her own flower shop, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Like built it from like the ground up.
That is
very proud of
incredible.
her. She did great.
We have a follow-up question from the audience. Chad Alt asks, did any of you hang out uptown during high school during the weekends?
Chad, nice to see you. You know, this would be one of the things I would not let my kids do.
Okay.
I got a lot of those stories, I guess, not Rocky Horror Picture Show, midnight downtown and uptown. Oh, and you got the toast and you got the rice and you got the spray bottle and the newspaper. Oh, loved that. Loved that.
How many times did you go to Rocky Horror, do you think? Multiple, many times?
3 to 5, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't a regular.
Jen, did you
I didn't
go?
have enough tattoos or piercings to go.
Oh yeah, I think I went once. Yeah.
Barney, did you
I
ever
was
go
sort of
see?
a First Avenue kind of 7th Street entry, more, you know.
Yeah.
A
But
little more
I feel like
alternative
you're
than
right about that, Monica. Like we would go down to the Uptown Theater to see Rocky Horror, and I went a few times. And yeah, unchaperoned, you know,
Right.
and I'm sure I told my parents, where are you going? We're going down to Rocky Horror, because it happened every Friday night, right? Every Friday or Saturday night.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
And it was well known what went on there. And I think my parents were like, yeah, it's fine. You know?
Yeah, that's fine. My dad thought that was cool. Good
And
for
it
you.
started at midnight or something, right? So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
And so do you have curfews for your children? Or like,
Of course I do.
Did you have a curfew?
Which is why they're really good kids.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did you have a curfew in high school?
Monica?
I don't.
Yeah, you did.
Maybe.
Well, sort of. I don't know. You had to check in with your dad, I think.
Yeah, right. Probably. Right. But see, Jen
My
would
parents were
pretend to
super
go for a run because her mom wouldn't want her to leave the house having dinner or whatever. And she would go for a run and I
And
would
I'd meet
pick her up like a
Monica.
block from her house.
Oh.
Drop her off a block from her house. And we laugh at that today because we're like, and Mom didn't question the fact that you weren't all sweaty from taking a run.
Like, I'm
and apparently
exhausted.
running for what, like 2 hours or something? Like how long?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah. Maureen never questioned that.
no.
This is the thing that I was thinking about, because if you were following the rules in my house, you could stay out later sometimes, or like if we were going someplace and like we changed plans and we're going someplace else, I just had to check in.
Yeah.
Oh.
But checking in 1987 meant finding a payphone,
Right.
a
Yes.
quarter, and calling home on the payphone. And
Yeah.
that was sort of hilarious, right? Thinking in retrospect, like standing at the payphone at Fuddruckers, you know, we're at Fuddruckers. You know?
Fuddruckers, and it's all loud behind
Yeah.
you. right? And then you think about like your kids out today, and they have their cell phones. And so we have our Life 360, and I like tonight, I'm all worried about this concert, but technically I can see where she's at. Well, no, back in 87, there was no tracking.
Right?
There was no, my dad, yeah, Dad, I'm going out with Jen. I'll see you in a little bit. I mean, he didn't know where we were, what we up to. I mean, he
No.
just took at face value that we were being good. And for the
Of
most
course
part, we were good kids.
You know, I wonder if
made
my
good
parents even
stories.
checked the odometer on the car when I brought it back, because there were times when I was going to somebody's house, but we would end up in South Minneapolis and like.
They checked the odometer?
I don't know if they did or not. I never
Oh.
got busted for it or anything. As long as I filled up the car when it came back, it was fine. But
Yeah, my dad had a truck, an extra, I don't know why, but he had a truck parked on the side of the yard, and I took it for a joyride. I don't know. I was thinking I was like 15. And he comes back and he goes for after work. He was like, "So how was the drive?" And I'm like, "Dad, I didn't do that." And he was like, "Well, if you would have taken the parking brake off, you maybe wouldn't have left the tire tracks on the yard." Yeah.
I never heard that story.
Oh, no. And another time I had some people over, he was up north, and I had some people over at the house, and I think Jen probably made flyers for it. I don't know. And my dad got back on Sunday, and he was like, "So how was the party?" And I'm like, "Dad, come on. I didn't have a party." And he was like, "Well, you maybe had a few people out back because I just planted brand new grass and it was growing, and now it's all trampled." And so that's one of the stories, like as a parent, you don't think of that. As a high school student, you don't think about that newly grown grass.
That's
No.
true.
So our daughter did something. She had a party at our house, and we were up at our lake house. So we didn't know. And we like looked, and we're like, "What's going on?" Like, it seemed like there was some action, like movement around, because we have, security and whatever. And then we tried to turn on the deck cameras in the backyard, and all the cameras are covered. And I'm like,
Ooh.
"Okay, what's going on?" I text Mimi. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she's like, "Plausible deniability, Mom." I'm like, okay, keep it down, be good. I don't know what to say. So yeah, that was that. Yep.
I love that.
Bonfire
Well, Monica, I
at
remember
our house,
I
apparently.
knew your brother a little bit when we were younger. And so he was a mischievous kid. By the time you were, your parents may have exhausted themselves with him by the time you showed up. They were like,
Right.
"Got
I was the
nothing to
good
worry
kid.
about." Right.
I was always known as Andy's little sister.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Andy was in my Boy Scout troop for a short time. And yeah.
Oh, funny.
Yeah. He got into some trouble that
Oh, he's still a hunter today. Actually, he's all into that.
All right. So we ask a few questions every time on the show. And aside from raising your adult children under your roof, was there anything during the pandemic that you started doing that you weren't doing before, like a hobby or something like that?
I can't say that I did. I mean, because I was really into gardening. And so my gardens, pretty much that's where I was. If the kids were looking for me at any point, I was out in the garden. And my daughter and I are really into chalk art. And so we would do chalk art we live on a street that we're the end of the road. And so people walk, because there's a walking path right across the street here that goes on the other side of Anderson Lake. And so people would walk down the street. So my daughter and I would do some chalk art in the street for the people that were walking. And it's not little chalk art. I mean, we would take up the whole width of the street.
That's great. And that's that sort of impermanent art, right? It could be gone tomorrow if it rained hard enough overnight, right?
Right. Yeah. Oh, for sure. And cars drive over it, and it's just there for the sheer fun in a few days. Nothing
Did you
permanent.
take pictures of it? Does it live
Yeah.
anywhere?
Yeah,
So-
we did.
Okay.
We did like the up house and we did, we put little sayings on it. You're stronger than you think. And, just kind of encouraging people as they're taking walks by us.
Cool.
That is cool.
They were amazing.
Jen, did you pick up any hobbies during the pandemic?
Just, well, we happened to buy a lake house right before COVID hit, so it was
Oh,
perfect
nice.
timing. So yeah, just up there and gardening. Monica and I both garden a lot, so gardening and yeah.
Okay, so what is your favorite plant, Monica, in your garden right this month?
Okay, wait, Marnie. Marnie, you're out west and it probably still looks green where you are. So
There's no evergreens. Well, it's interesting because I just bought this house
Yeah.
and I'm planting a lot of evergreens.
Okay.
And so I really like ferns because they're really happy all the time in the rain. So I would say I have some ferns that I like, and then I have a couple evergreen rhodies. They're pretty evergreen.
Yeah.
You have nothing evergreen in your garden?
Oh, I do have evergreen. Yeah. I would have to say hydrangeas because there is a few varieties and then I can leave them in the garden. So I've got some that I will leave so that they're kind of winter, a little different texture out in the garden, but love the color changes and things like that.
That's cool. How about you, Jen? Do you have a favorite plant right now? A winter plant?
We just moved too. We just actually got another
Okay.
house too. So there's not much here. Our old house was bananas after 17 years. We had kind of a new garden, but I'm kind of starting fresh. The yews, we have some yews here, which are really forgiving.
Spider plants, Jen. Those are your favorite.
Those are inside. Yeah, Monica and I were just up at the lake and we found a really wonderful garden shop and bought a bunch of things. So yeah, we have a lot of plants.
So the other question we ask everyone is, did you have a teacher growing up in high school or anywhere along the line in Hopkins who you still think about today that stuck with you for some reason, had a big impact on your life?
Yeah, I really loved Mel. I'm sure you guys hear that all the time. I really loved Mel. I thought he was really he just always knew what I needed when I needed it. But Brad he actually was really great and very inspirational and really taught me a lot about my artistic abilities and what I like. And then interesting to then come back to him later when I was still doing flowers and still doing stuff at the church and still being able to be like, yeah, Brad, look at what I did. And so, he's still making impacts on me today.
It occurs to me that the interesting thing about the art teachers is that when people bring up the art teachers, they always use their first names. Like, that's different from every other department in the school.
Yeah. My daughter calls her art teacher P. She just calls him P. Yeah, that's true.
How about you, Jen?
Yeah, I'd have to say, well, Roman Borgerding.
Yes.
Borgerding. Come on. Yeah. So Borgerding or Brad. I would have to say Brad too. Art's kind of been a big part of my life too. And he kind of took me under his wing, and I was one of the kids that went like on the traveling trips to Chicago, and he took me over to his house and I had dinner with his wife, and it was
that's great.
Yeah. We're
okay.
Hey,
Well,
I was just going to ask you, Jen, what's the big difference between the class of 89 and the class of 88?
I don't know. I was really kind of fluid through the two of them. Okay. And I felt kind of lost when you guys left.
We were much cooler.
What?
We were much cooler, Jen.
Totally.
88,
no, I don't know.
Much cooler.
Yeah.
Look, we got KHOP88 now.
It was a good bunch. Yeah. Marnie called me and asked me, I'm like, I wasn't in 88. Everybody thinks I was in 88, but no. Yeah. So
Happens. Okay, well, I have two important questions which are related to the theme of would you let your kids do this? I'm going to ask them sequentially, which is, do you know about the great tennis ball fight or the greased pig?
I do know about the big tennis ball fight, and that was actually really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because it was, yeah, I mean, it was a big deal. It was really funny. I did not know about the greased pig.
I
Okay,
think
so
that was in 89, wasn't it?
the pig?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
But
I
okay,
don't
so tell
remember.
us about what you remember about the tennis ball fight. Because we have very few people willing to talk about it.
I just remember a whole lot of tennis balls, and there were people down in the mall, and there were people up in the whatever, the walkway. And so it would be, they would throw them up at the walkway, you'd whip them down at them, and it was just a tennis ball fight. And then of course everybody kind of got in trouble for that. And then wasn't there something like a sit down protest that people went and protested, and we were such rebellions then.
It's our it's the photo we have at the top of our YouTube channel is of the protest, because Bauman like called off winter games.
Oh yeah.
And so you could see there's a banner up on the walkway that says like, have a heart, Mr. Bauman.
Do you
Yeah.
remember
Right. So we were protesting because we wanted the winter games. Yeah.
Right.
the squirt gun fights? Remember the assassination?
Yeah, I remember playing
Oh,
assassin.
Yeah, that Monica, we did it. Remember,
Yeah,
we did the
that-
board at my house.
right.
We ordered a pizza with some of the money. That was our fee for setting up all the names and like handling it.
Well, you guys organized it?
Remember that? Yeah, that was Monica. And I had the board in the book. Yeah. And we
Okay,
collected the
more
money.
details. I have no memory. What
It was at, remember, Monica, we were watching Less Than Zero at my house.
Oh,
And
That's a
we had
good
the
movie.
notebook and the board, and we
Yeah.
like we had everybody's names. And we,
Assassin.
like, yeah. That was Monica.
Less Than Zero. That's like the Bret Easton Ellis book, right? That's a
right. What a good
Yeah.
movie.
So
wow.
Fantastic.
That's as 80s as it gets right there.
there we go.
Um,
And we took
As
10 bucks
80s
and
as it
ordered
gets,
pizza.
yeah.
Because I played assassin at some point in high school, but I can't remember. It was
It was
pretty
big.
big.
Yeah,
we had a
pretty big.
huge,
there
yeah,
were
we
a
had
lot
a
of
huge
people. It was
crowd.
like 80 people.
Yeah,
And we-
Marty,
Before
you
you
get a
get down-
name and you're supposed to squirt them with a squirt gun, and
then you'd take
when
their
you-
person.
Then you have to go after their person. Yeah.
Mhm.
And you
Um,
two set up the whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had.
So
the
people
board.
would give us money and sign in, and then Monica and I took all the names, and then we assigned that one to the next person in line, and then it would start to go down the line, and then whoever was left at the end. Does anybody remember who won? I don't remember who won.
I know. I don't.
Anyway, and then they
But
got
we
all
had
the
money
money
at the end.
So they
yeah.
got like $100 or something, whatever it
Yeah.
was. Mm-hmm.
That
glory.
is really a cool story. Okay, I want one other thing which Monica brought up before you joined us, Jen, which is tell us about the design you did for the boxer shorts and the t-shirts. What is this all about?
No.
Yes.
Okay, so I think it was Bill and whoever else was part of the
Snow days or something. No, it wasn't a spring fling. I think it was
spring fling. It was.
Yeah.
And they asked us to make a shirt. And so Monica and I, we do collaborative artwork a lot. And so we were handing it back and forth, and like I'd draw a little, and then she'd draw a little, and then I'd draw a little. And so we made
The
like,
lion drawing
and
on
it
the,
was just
he
a
was laying on the
cartoon.
beach
It
with
was
an umbrella.
silly. It was a cartoon. It was quick, and it went off to the printers, and we did it, and we didn't realize that there was a little quirk
It was,
Yeah.
it was a
until
little
after it came back from the
inappropriate and kind of
printers, and
phallic.
someone brought it to our attention that he had looked like he had something in his shorts.
He was a
we'll
little
say.
excited. Yeah.
It wasn't a purpose. It was just a wrinkle.
It was a wrinkle in the shorts.
I swear.
It's not meant to be that, no. And we didn't even notice it until people were wearing it around the school. So
I was mortified. Yeah.
There were T-shirts of this. People wore the
Yeah,
T-shirt.
everybody was wearing them. Yeah.
yeah, it was the spring fling T-shirt for the school.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Does anybody? We got to find out if anybody's because some people.
Chris Camp
crave
has
this
them.
stuff.
I think Chris Camp has them all. Some people have them.
Oh
I have
gosh,
one
I would
somewhere.
I would
I
love that
don't
if somebody had one of those, because we were so embarrassed that we
Yeah.
just got rid of them because
It
we were
was
so
not on
embarrassed.
purpose. I swear.
Yes. Oh, we're like, oh, I can't believe we did that. And I wish today
We didn't
I would-
notice is the thing.
I wish I had that because that would have been awesome.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
We can
That's so
find
great.
That's really cool.
Marnie.
It's time to talk. I have a lot
Yeah.
of amazing shows just as good as this one. And I'm really glad, Jen, that we had you as our surprise guest. That's always fun. Okay, next week, Michelle Grover. So cool. December 7th, Dr. Kim Kaffingst. December 14th, The Band. It's going to be a really big show. The band is like going to get bigger than maybe any other show we've had.
Hey, real quick about the band. This is interesting. So our band director at Hopkins High School was Don Bates. And
Yeah.
he had 3 sons. One of them a few years older than us, one a year younger than us, Chris Bates, who's a jazz bassist of consequence in the Twin Cities. But his youngest son is JT Bates, who plays a lot with Bon Iver, and is, if you're familiar with the band Big Red Machine, which I'm obsessed with right now, he's in Big Red Machine. He's he's on. You'll see him on Colbert and stuff.
Yeah, he played on Taylor Swift's last album, I think.
Yes, he's part of that crew.
Yeah.
So anyway, it'd be great if we could get Mr. Bates for that show. I don't know how that's going.
We can work on that. I've been trying. Okay, the Solstice show, we are looking for a guest. December 28th, Deborah Hans Campbell. And I just booked the first show of year 3 of KHOP88. January 4th, Lee Zwart. And then Jason, on February 1st, we are going to celebrate your birthday.
All right.
Torture.
Yeah.
Wear
I have
birthday
2.
hats.
Okay, you two, what else is there anything else you'd like to bring up? Like any last funny memory?
I think we covered them.
I don't know.
At least ones I want to disclose. There are a few I'll keep to myself.
That's
Fair.
a good idea.
Fair. Well, it's great. It's cool that you guys are still buddies and
Oh yeah. Yeah,
gardening.
she was the
and-
matron of honor at my wedding.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
sweet.
That's my girl.
That's fantastic.
Mhm.
Yeah, so thanks for joining us, Jen. If you start a KHOP89, we won't bust you for plagiarism or anything. Monica, great to see you.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, bringing your great stories. And I forgot already, who's up next week? What are we doing?
Wait,
next week?
what? Next week is really important. It's Michelle Grover.
Michelle Grover. Yes. Okay. We'll see
Okay.
Michelle Grover next week.
Be
Awesome.
safe. Oh, puppy.
Yay.
Cute.
Nice.
Thank you guys for doing this. Really appreciate it. It's kind of fun to see everybody as they come on every week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for coming on. Thanks for volunteering. And
Yeah.
everybody else, we'll see you next Tuesday night.
See you on Tuesday. Bye.
Safe.
Bye.